The Marvel Rival Championship for Season 1 Eternal Nightfalls just finished in North America, and here are the results. The champions are Sentinels. It's not 100 Thieves like everyone thought it would be. Shroud X, congrats to them on 3rd place. But let's take a look at the bracket that happened this past weekend and how everything went down. The first matches, Magnets, a new unsigned roster who literally came together as a pickup team before this Marvel Rivals Championship for Season 1, took down the FlyQuest, the runner-ups from the Marvel Rivals Invitational, who took 100 Thieves all the way to Game 6 in that best of 7. Shroud X, who used to be the roster of Intergalactic that got picked up thanks to him hitting a donation goal for his charity stream, well, they were able to move on all the way into that top 3. They took down Arius. Shout out to them. That's another roster that's looking for an organization as well. And Magnets, unfortunately, we're only able to get a map against them. But the big story here is Sentinels not dropping a single map to send to 100 Thieves in that upper bracket or in that final matchup as well. Looking at this first matchup, though, it's a little messy for the side of 100 Thieves, and this is exactly why things started off on the wrong foot for them. You see that it's overtime here. Nobody was on the objective till Terra used their Kraken Impact ultimate. They move off of the box, though, and Delena tries to get there in time, but you can see they aren't there, and it will be another Cloud9 situation for 100 Thieves. They give up the objective. They don't get that second checkpoint. They don't pass go and collect $100, and they do fall in that first map, and it was just a tumbling of dominoes since then on out. You see that Crimzo, the coach of Sentinels, subbing in for Hogs, saying that they have a better shot of taking down 100 Thieves Esports, and well, we can see exactly why with the stats that came up here as well. They were able to put on a showcase themselves, got 27 eliminations, 10 final hits there, 3 deaths total, and had the top stats across the board for their team in damage and damage blocked. What a monumental matchup we saw there for Sentinels. But going back onto things as well as we get into the tournament again, seeing exactly how the rest of their matchup went for that series. Pretty insane to think about. The last 2 maps went to overtime as well, but the MVPs here were the strategists, Aramori, excuse me, and Karova. They stepped up big, 64,000 heals, 52,000 heals just to keep them in the competition and making sure with the picks and saves that they secured that Groot. Crimzo was going to be an integral force the entire time. 80,000 damage blocked, only 2,000 more damage for Vinny on the other side. It just did not prove to be enough. And in that final round, well, they are already starting to tilt. TTK tried to do everything that they could, but it did not prove to be enough. They made sure that they secured the Magneto because that's TTK's main. They're pretty good at it, but Super Gomez really stepped up. I really want to show you guys kind of the great quad that they had as well. 23 final hits, though, 42 eliminations that entire time. Looking at the specific feed here for this final map, this is where Super Gomez really came alive as a duelist for their squad. So trying to find the exact area where we did see them pop off themselves, and we saw a couple eliminations there, but this is kind of the area where Super Gomez really went in and where things turned on a dime for this team. So looking at Super Gomez, they use the Galactic Legend ultimate. They take out a couple of them, especially after you do see the Doctor Strange Eye of Agamotto ult come through. They get another elimination for a double, and this just kept continuing. A triple themselves, didn't really need much after that. They're trying to go for a quad to just keep that momentum going. This is the biggest thing for Sentinels. Why they got a victory over 100 Thieves. Every time they won a fight, they waited out for 100 Thieves to come towards them and try to get an early pick so that it would stagger their momentum afterwards. So that was a huge play for them to see exactly how Sentinels were able to take down this 100 Thieves roster. And you can see why with the stats, but that's only the first series that we're talking about here for these players. We got to talk about the final series and who stepped up big for them as well to even go 4-0 against 100 Thieves who seemed untouchable. Looking at this, though, 3-0 victory, 2-0 victory, 2-0 victory, and 4-3. The last one we'll talk about and save for last, but we're going to go through this first. Kaluj, they were a monster in these 3 games leading up to that final moment, the final pushback from the other team. Band of Venom, I mean, I don't think they really need to worry too much about that, but they saved the Luna Snow so that they could at least have Namor. They did get banned on the other side, and they made sure to ban the Groot. But that doesn't matter. Crimzo didn't really need to do as much. Kalush stepped up on the Doctor Strange, and that's exactly what you want to see. If one of your teammates get target banned, have someone else step up, and that's exactly what happened here. Now looking at the next map, who else was it that stepped up again? Kalush themselves only died once. Same for Crimzo. This is the tank diff, but also the strategist diff. You see how long they're able to keep themselves in the fight. That's what it was such a struggle for the other team. Moving on to map 3 again. Who else? Kalush. Even after they target banned the Doctor Strange, it did not prove to be enough. Kalush does come out on top again. There with the MVP for their team. Terra tried to do as much as they could on the Bucky, but it just did not prove to be enough. Now this final map went the distance, went to overtime. We saw some good looks from the other team at 100 Thieves. It just was not enough because of the momentum that this team was able to establish when they were on the attacking side. They weren't able to defend as much, but they held them off, made it so there's only 40 seconds extra for the other team, but that wasn't enough because they had 1:40 themselves, so they got a decent chunk of time to make sure they could lock things down. We'll show you the final moments of this matchup itself, just to show how dominant Sentinels were at the end of it once it got to OT. They didn't have to worry too much once they were on the defensive side. You can see some chats that were happening here as well. But this is the last few moments again. Even though we had some eliminations from the other side, it just did not prove to be enough at the end. Looking at this is the final checkpoint that they need to go for. And there's just nothing that 100 Thieves have been able to do. They get just kidnapped away. They try to take down Super Gomez. He's distracting them. Kalush goes towards them as well. There's nothing to really worry about because they're just going to be defending their territory on this convoy. As soon as they take them out, Harvey can't do anything about it either. And there you have it. That is how Sentinels came out on top at the end. The tanks stepped up, the support stepped up, and the DPS, of course, did their job, but they were not the focus like they typically are on 100 Thieves. This is the epic victory. This is the championship we were waiting for on the side of Sentinels. They made a statement during this Marvel Rivals Championship, and there's nothing anyone can take against them. Shout out to the entire roster, and also proving that, hey, you can have a woman on your roster like Ara Morty and still be a top contender and the champions, as you can see here for Sentinels. Congrats to them. Congrats to their entire organization for picking up this amazing roster. And also, GG's go next for 100 Thieves. They have every time for them to bounce back in the future. But if this is something you enjoyed and something you want me to break down more in the future, well, I'm going to be starting a Marvel Rivals esports podcast, so make sure you subscribe to this channel. This is where we're going to post things. We're going to interview some of these winners from Sentinels if we can. Also have some experts in the scene, coaches and managers and even players throughout different rosters. We'll talk about Europe, we'll talk about Asia, and we'll give you all the information you need to know every single week once we get that podcast started. So waiting for some graphics to come in, so it might not be this week, but likely the following afterwards. So make sure you follow, subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know what you were most excited about during the Marvel Rival Championship this weekend.